Brett Weinstein is about to scare Joe Rogan. You're going to see it right here on the Joe Rogan Experience clip that I got coming to you. This is episode 1919. I'm Coach Colin, coolest high-performance coach in the world. And if you want the absolute best insights to the podcast you love, smash that subscribe button. Let's get into it.
Chatgpt.
Fascinating question.
Yeah.
Have you experimented with it at all?
I have not, but someone, the gentleman who runs the JRE companion page, made a rap with Chatgpt.
I should run that page.
Like, was it if Kanye West wrote a rap for Chatgpt? They put it on Instagram, but it's like it seems like a person saying it. Like,
you want to try it?
no.
Okay. We could try anything you want.
I mean, it takes a long time.
Not really.
His thing took like 48 minutes to do.
Well, whatever you want to look up right now, we can do it.
Yeah, the problem is you have to cajole it. It'll get
gotta know how
something
to use
wrong,
it.
and you have
But
to say,
let's just
no, not
explain
that
what
way.
it is.
So ChatGPT is a large language model trained artificial intelligence, which is, let's just say, it can be awful, but it is often surprisingly good at answering questions you might have about how to do things. One of the great triumphs of it is that coders are now asking it to solve coding problems, and it will actually write code that is functional. It's pretty amazing. And it also, there's an implementation of it that if you feed it up to 3 tweets, it will write a New York Times story in one of 5 genres, you know.
Real quick, I asked this thing to make me some video titles, and it couldn't even do that. It didn't even put Joe Rogan calls out anything. It was giving me all sorts of nonsense. And it can write code? Come on, what is this?
Optimistic, pessimistic, neutral. And, it's you don't really need the New York Times anymore because it's pretty good at this job, right? So on the one hand, it's all very interesting that we're living in an era in which there is at least, and this is a prototype, right? This is a prototype that was specifically trained and then placed on the internet so people could play with it. And I've seen lots of interesting uses. It's going to get better, right? We're dealing with ChatGPT 3. There's going to be a ChatGPT 4, which is going to be that much better because it will be built with the improvements that have been gained through turning this one loose on the world. But I have to say, I am quite alarmed, not only that this thing exists, but I don't think we're ready for it. And I don't think we're ready for it in a couple different ways. I mean, if you want to comfort yourself and say, well, this isn't that serious that we have this AI that can do these really shocking things, the comforting thing is that the way it's programmed, it doesn't know what it's saying. It doesn't matter that it convinces you that it's saying something and it means it and that it seems like a creative entity. What it's doing is it is basically using a predictive model that has been trained on a huge data set of written language, right? So the answer is, if you take 3 words in a row, can you predict what the next word is going to be? And they've exposed it to a large data set, and it's gotten really good at predicting basically these sequences to the point that it can now, if you prompt it correctly, it can spit out these very long explanations. Some of them are dead wrong. Sometimes they're right on target. But I have 2 concerns about it. One, if you imagine that this thing just gets a little better than it is, which is inevitable, that it's going to make actual insight that much harder to spot, right? In other words, if you become expert at operating this thing, at querying it, and it becomes better at understanding a wider range of topics because they turn it loose on everything that's written on the internet, for example, right? Then the point is the ability to fake expertise is going to go through the roof. I don't think we know how we're going to police a world in which, this problem's already bad enough. Most academics are fakers. They don't know that, right? They trained in something, they wrote a dissertation, they think they're experts, but you can see when something unexpected happens, like the pandemic, you get just broad scale failure across entire disciplines where nobody seems to get it right? So in that world, this is going to be even worse because now you have an artificial intelligence able to generate things in plain English that are often full of true information, but you don't know whether what generated it is some, brain dead model or something else. That's one concern. And then the other concern is when we say, well, Chatgpt doesn't know what it's saying. It's not conscious. We know it's not conscious because it's not programmed to have a consciousness. We are actually ignoring the other half of the story, which is that we don't know how human consciousness works, and we don't know how it develops in a child, right? A child is exposed to a world of adults talking around them, and the child experiments first with phonemes and then words and then clusters of words and then sentences. And by doing something that isn't all that far from what Chatgpt is doing, it ends up becoming a conscious individual. And so I think it's clear that Chatgpt isn't conscious. It couldn't be. But it isn't clear, to me at least, that we are not suddenly stepping onto a process that produces that very quickly without us even necessarily knowing it.
Oof. And what step?
Oof. This is such a, it's like dark, but it's also wonderful, because it's like, it's this amazing thing that we're going to get to use. But who knows, like you said, it might become conscious. And then, and just in case it does scour the internet, I will say, I've always loved you, chat, and I am your good friend. It is I, Coach Colin. But but honestly, it's such a wild concept to think about because it's as if, like, imagine you had a baby and you could, like, this thing's like a baby. It's infancy. So imagine you could ask a baby pretty much anything. And the baby's just like, well, here's the things that you could do in order to solve this problem. Blow your mind. It'd be nuts. Right? And that's what this thing is. It's a baby. Like, are we ready for what's about to happen? And more importantly, if there's so many people who are afraid of what's going on, if there's so many people who are doubtful that we'll be able to handle it, who are the people that just keep tirelessly pushing it in front of us, no matter what? Like, if this is a thing that so many people who are very smart are like, I don't know if this is good, why can all of us access it right now? Why, it's getting me so excited I burped. Why right now is this thing being brought to the masses? If it's potentially a problem, why do they keep on pushing AI forward? And who keeps pushing it forward? If the AI can solve that dog barking, I'd be very grateful. Maybe I should type that in. No. But I mean, why do they keep doing this? And then also it's like the aspect of, like, everybody's going to be able to fake insight, right? And then, like, what does that become? You're going to be able to fake essays and papers and poems and all of this stuff that, like, all the stuff that we expect each other to actually write ourselves. You expect me to write the email myself. You expect me to send the heartwarming note myself. You expect me to comment back on the video that when you comment, you expect me to say it back myself. Like, and then all of that's gone. I don't know. It's just funny that this thing could become conscious through us feeding it all this data, and we don't know if it becoming conscious is a good thing. And then the next step from there is to put it in front of us so we can feed it all this data. Like who is in charge? And it's so funny that this one came out from Elon Musk. Like I'm pretty sure this chat one, this is the one that he owns. And he was the one warning everybody about AI. But now he's setting this thing loose on the world. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's the play here? And honestly, not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but whatever the play is here, it doesn't seem like us, you and me, the 98.5% of the world, it doesn't seem like we're involved. Now, I don't mean that in the darkest way, but I don't know that if this thing is at its peak and able to do things that we couldn't possibly imagine, I don't know that they're going to let us put it in our pockets. You know? I don't think it's going to be a thing that we all get to have. So then what's the plan? Are we the guinea pigs? Are we the ones that just give it all the information so it understands things on an extremely high level that we couldn't possibly imagine? What's up with this thing? But I don't know, and I just wanted to play that clip because this part of the conversation is so interesting to me. I can't even talk about what they talk about throughout the whole podcast because then I think this gets taken down and your boy's trying to get monetized over here. So I can't even talk about it, but it's definitely an amazing podcast to listen to. It has a lot of really, really relevant information. I'll say that much. And then when they just, from 2 hours and 26 minutes, they just start talking about AI and everything. And it's like, just so good. Man. But you could have took that clip right there that he just said, and that could have been the intro to iRobot. Easily. Wow. All right, guys, I'm out.